women and men become legends.
All right, I guess we can start. Sarah, what you think? Thumbs up. All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Again, thank you for those who were kind enough to turn your camera on. I'm still inviting everyone to join me with that. My name is Duncan Kirkwood. I am super excited about presenting here today. Like, I've been amped up about this all week, so I am ready. Okay, Sarah, I see you in the chat. Thank you for those good vibes on our vocal warm-ups that y'all you guys walked in on. So I appreciate that and good energy. And we're going to talk about reimagine, rethink, rebuild. But you can't do that in a school system, in a school building, in a school district until you do it in yourself, right? Until we get your own energy together, your own mental agility and mental toughness, and get you the skills to take care of yourself. And so today we're going to talk about resilience in the context of advocacy, some of the work that I've been able to do around education policy. So this is all my social stuff. Follow me on social, everything, it's that type of world now. So this is what happened. I was serving in the Army, and in 2012, we had more soldiers die from suicide than we had die in combat in Iraq and Afghanistan. So the Army ramped up their resilience training program. And so officers like me became master resilience trainers. We would go to different units to teach soldiers to become more resilient. All right. So that was the whole gist of how I became a resilience trainer. So now I go out and I train professionals, PhDs, college students, education advocacy, education advocates, organizers. And so now I do that resilience training. But I also have cut my teeth in education policy. So I've got like a quick little education fight the power video. Let me see. I think I had it queued up here. And then notice, if y'all catch one of these clips, we're at the state capitol in Montgomery on Dexter Avenue. So let's check it out here. So yeah, we had the biggest rally in the history of Alabama in support of education choice, school choice. We organized 100 college students. So we organized parents, faith leaders, school leaders, and all right, so y'all get the gist. All right, I'm the real deal. Okay, so I wanted to make it clear that I'm not talking to you all in theory. But you see, because a lot of times when you get presentations, people are talking to you in theory, or they read and studied a PowerPoint. I'm telling you, I have done this work, and I want to show you the resilient skills that you're going to take for you to be able to be successful in moving policy, changing school districts, changing school buildings, and really making the impact that we seek to make. That makes sense? Thumbs up. I can only see a couple people, but like thumbs up. All right, awesome. All right, so let me jump back into this PowerPoint. I was going to do an icebreaker. I'll do it real quick. We do it real quick because I got to make sure that you guys are here with me. Think of it like this. Being present is one of the hardest things there is to do, especially virtual. Some of y'all got your cameras off because you secretly watching TikTok right now, right? And so I got to make sure that y'all are here with me, right? You're not just on the Zoom, but we're here together. So in order for that to happen, I'm going to do a listening activity. All right. I'm looking at the chat. So I'm monitoring the chat for the folks who, are doing stuff, which is okay. Like I said, we all got kids, family. In a minute, my daughter's bus is going to roll up. So it's all good. But I'm going to do a listening activity to make sure you're here. So I'm going to read you a story, and I'm going to ask you one question. If you know the question, you're going to raise your hand. Can I get Sabrina and the folks on camera to raise your hand so I know you know what to do if you know the answer? Awesome. If you don't know, you're going to give me a thumbs down. Can I get a thumbs down from everybody real quick? Awesome. Raising your hand via the chat. I appreciate it. I received that. All right. So the only way to get the answer is to listen. So listen up, y'all. Here we go. You are driving a bus. At the first stop, 3 people get on the bus. At the second stop, 2 people get on the bus. At the third stop, 1 person gets off the bus. Raise your hand if you know the name of the bus driver. And if you don't, give me that thumbs down. If you're like, wait a minute, I just missed something, give me that thumbs down. Where's the chat? I see a hand raised in the chat. Do I see a thumbs down in the chat, or where we at, y'all? Okay. So as they put their response in the chat, listen up. I said it's a listening activity. So the only way to get the answer is to listen. All right. People who know they know the answer. Raise your hand if you know the answer. Okay. Oh, Sarah, you look confused. Don't say it, but do you think you know or do you know you know? You think you know. Okay, no. I need somebody who knows they know. Let's go with Janice. Janice Harper. Can you hear me? Or Janice? No, you still on mute? Okay. Let's say Brother Sam. Did I do any magic tricks?
No magic tricks.
Did I say the answer?
You gave me the answer.
Okay. So I'm gonna read the story again, y'all. I'm going quicker than I normally do because we got a lot of material to get through. All right. But I need y'all to be here with me. So I'm gonna read the story again. Remember, it's a listening activity. You have to listen to get the answer. Okay. So here we go. Listen up. You are driving a bus. At the first stop, 3 people get on the bus. The second stop, 2 people get on the bus. Third stop, 1 person gets off. Raise your hand if you know the name of the bus driver. Okay, I think we got everybody. So I said it's a listening activity, and the first word that I said, everybody, was the answer. Okay, so it's really hard to listen. It's really hard to be present. And don't feel bad. When my mentor did this for me, I got it wrong twice. So don't feel bad, all right? But it just shows you it's really hard to be present. But if we're going to get anything out of what I shared today, I need you guys to be here with me, to be present and listening. Sound good? Awesome. Okay, Sarah Stowens, Sabrina, Sarah King, Sam, y'all the only ones on camera. So I need y'all to give me lots of feedback because you're representing the whole group because I can't see everybody, okay? All right. So let's talk about resilience. Today we're going to talk about resilience, presence, and ego. These are the topics that we're going to discuss. All right. So resilience, the one thing I want you to understand about resilience is it's teachable. Anybody can learn to become resilient. And if you're not resilient, you can become resilient. If you're resilient, you can become more resilient. We use the metaphor to look at your resilience like a cup of water. All right. And every time you have a setback, it's like a spill. Now, we all have setbacks, y'all. This is important, especially in advocacy work. If any of y'all done any type of advocacy, you know it's some setbacks happening, right? We fight hard. We got a lot of setbacks. And it's important that we're pouring into the cup, right? Because we're going to have setbacks. We're going to have spills, but we want to do things to pour into the cup. Resilience pours in, the resilience skills will help you pour into that cup. Because when you get that cup gets empty, if you have lots of setbacks or setback after setback, or you're not, building those skills, what happens is you're at risk for suicide. You're at risk for depression. You're at risk for anxiety, for burnout, for risky behavior. So we want to pour into the cup. All right. So that's kind of the gist of what we're trying to do. One of the mantras that I taught soldiers, and now I teach organizers and activists and young people is this creed. In the Army, we call it the Warrior Ethos. But for you all, this is going to be our success pledge. All right. I will always place my mission first. I will never accept defeat. I will never quit. Now, let me tell you what that means. When I say I will always place my mission first, if my mission is to reduce the amount of out of school suspensions in my school, that means when I'm at the grocery store, I'm talking to the cashiers about reducing school suspension. When I'm sitting down and I see a city council member at Olive Garden, I go sit down with that city council member, interrupt their dinner to tell them that we need to reduce school suspensions, right? That means I'm writing letters and blogs and Facebook posts nonstop because I'm putting that mission. That mission is my priority, okay? I will never accept defeat means, doesn't say I will never face defeat. It doesn't say I will never have defeat. It says I will never accept it. So yeah, the bill went up for a vote. It didn't even make it out of committee. You could just give up and be sad, or you could say, you know what? We had a failure. We learned something and we're going to keep going. That's I will never accept defeat. And I will never quit means, listen, it may be harder than I thought, take longer than I ever imagined, but I'm not going to quit until we pass this law for these children. I'm not going to quit until we improve the lives of the children in this school district. So if you don't take nothing else from today, if you take this success pledge and apply it to your life, any part of your life, parenting, advocacy, work, whatever, if you take this and own this, it will refocus you and give you that energy, that shot of espresso every time you need to get through those hard times to keep you focused. Cool? Thumbs up? That makes sense? All right. Again, I'm sorry I'm leaning heavy on y'all, but I need you. All right. So one of the ways that we pour into our resilience cup is a tactic called hunt the good stuff. Hunt the good stuff is something you can do every day that will make you more resilient. Basically, you ever had a grandma or somebody in that generation say, count your blessings, right? Well, apparently my grandma from McCombs, Mississippi was a genius because military science has proven that by identifying the good things in your life, you actually help overcome the negativity bias. And for those, I mean, I know you guys are all PhD'd and super educated, okay? But the negativity bias, for those who don't know, means that we focus more on negative experiences than positive, right? And some researchers say that it takes 11 positive experiences to overcome one negative. Let me put that in language for everyday people, right? So as you explain this to everyday people, this is how you explain it to them. You ever had a really good day, stuff is going good, and one person said something to you and it killed your vibe, right? That's the negativity bias, okay? And because you had 5 great things that happened today and one person cut you off in traffic, by the time you get home, now you're angry. That's the negativity bias. So what we want to do is this exercise called Hunt the Good Stuff. It's really easy and you should do it every day. We're going to identify 3 good things that have happened in the last 24 hours. I would like everybody to put them in the chat. I'm going to model it so you know exactly what I mean. And then if everybody could just drop their 3 good things in the chat, that would be awesome. So my 3 good things are, number 1, even though my daughter's bus did not show up today, just flat out didn't show up, me and her both started off the morning with great energy. Number 2, my wife went to this like wholesale store and bought this giant box of Fruit by the Foot. It is my favorite candy. I love it. And like she bought the jumbo box, right? Number 3, a college that I'm speaking at next week, they bought 150 copies of my book. Okay. So boom, 3 good things, right? My whole life didn't change. It wasn't like this super magnanimous things, right? Just 3 good things that have happened. So I would like for each of you to, in the chat really quick, drop 3 good things that have happened to you in the last 24 hours. This is called hunting the good stuff. Was that being a chat message? Let me see. All right, I'm seeing them. Somebody said their son did his chore on his own. Oh, that is a good day. We are moving in the right direction. Okay. All right. So yeah. So y'all keep doing it. I'm gonna keep talking because I want to, keep moving forward. But if everybody could please, there's 29 people in here. I'd love to see 29 responses to 3 good things. If you do this, right? If you hunt the good stuff every day with your friends, with your family, with your colleagues, with your employees, you will build and stockpile good energy. This is a best practice for building resilience. It changes the energy. It changes the focus. It's very important. Hunt the good stuff. All right. When we talk about resilience, one of the metaphors that I use, I love the most, is like learning to ride a bike. We all can, I'm not going to make that assumption. Most of us can relate to learning how to ride a bike. All right. I was at a speech one time and somebody put their hand up and said, I don't know how to ride a bike. I said, you're 37 years old. What's going on here? Right. So I don't make that assumption anymore. When you learn to ride a bike, you got your dad, your aunt, somebody's holding the seat. Right. You start pedaling. And then once you let go, once they let go, you get a little bit, you go a little bit, then you fall. Right. We all can relate to that experience. Right. You fall down, hurt your leg. It doesn't feel good. You don't like it. Okay. Connecting to Mother Earth and this incredible summit. Oh, I love it, Susan. Okay. So you fall down, you don't like it. You get back up. You get back on the bike. Dad holds the seat. You start pedaling again. He lets go. You get a little further this time, and then you fall again. All right. Here's the lesson in that, y'all. And this is an important lesson. The falling off the bike actually helped you find the balance. None of us were like child prodigies. They were 3-year-olds popping willies. Okay. Like it didn't happen like that. Falling was actually part of the process. So when we experience setbacks and failures in our lives, those failures are actually part of our journey. Right? It's hard to see it in the moment because it hurts. Your knee hurts from falling off the bike. You're crying a little bit. It doesn't feel good. But if you keep going, you find the balance. And so in life, that's how our setbacks are. We have setbacks and it hurts in the moment. But if we keep going, we find the balance, and it actually launches us further than we ever could have imagined. Let me give you a personal example, because I don't want y'all to think I'm talking about this in theory, right? I don't have some setbacks. when I got ready to graduate college, I applied to 41 public relations firms. 41. Because that's what I got my degree in. And I got 41 rejection letters, right? And that was back when they still mailed you letters, right? So it was like the last couple of years of people mailing stuff. So you open the mail, it's rejection after rejection. That hurt. It's different when you open a rejection letter than getting the email. Anyway, so, I'm scared. I'm like, I'm about to graduate college in 3 months. It was like 4 months. So I joined the Army. I said, I'm not going back home to Buffalo to live on my mom's couch. I joined the Army. They at least will pay for my master's degree. So I graduated in May of 2008. And then 1 month later, I'm headed to boot camp, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. All right. Fast forward, I told you all what happened in 2012, how they made us they had us trained to be resilience trainers to help soldiers in different units. Well, when I got out of the military, I took that training and ultimately wrote this book, best-selling book, Rerouting. And that is what led me to this career of speaking and training. And now I travel all across the country and now all across the world, because I'm going to Singapore next month to do resilience training. But that could not have happened. I could not be living in my purpose. I could not have this joy in what I do if any one of those 41 public relations firms would have said yes. Do y'all understand that those 41 rejection letters was the best 41 letters I ever got, because it got me to this moment where I'm at right now. But in the moment when you're getting rejected, when you're feeling pain, when you have setbacks, it hurts and you can't see why. In Alabama, they tried to pass the charter school law 2 times. Not only did the teachers union destroy the idea of destroy those bills, but they destroyed the idea of charter schools in Alabama. They were so good that if you even said charter school, it was like you cursing somebody out, right? Like they had did a number on the idea of school choice, and that was just the political climate in Alabama at that time, right? So now it's changed. Everybody's working together, kumbaya. But at that time, it was hectic. But because those 2 times it failed, the 3rd time when I was there and we passed the law, it was one of the best laws in the country. Does that make sense? So if they passed it the first try, it would have been a really bad law, right? And it would have harmed kids, families, school districts, teachers. It would have been bad. But because we had to go through those iterations and bring in all these experts, it actually became a really strong law with a lot of accountability. So it helped. It was good. The setbacks helped. Does that make sense? Y'all with me? I want to make sure y'all get this point. We want to change how we see failure, because failures and setbacks are part of the journey and they're not going to stop. All right. That was me being rejected. I meant to click on that slide. All right. So the next thing we're going to talk about is presence. So let me come out of sharing for a second. Presence is so important, y'all, because if we are not present, we're not bringing our best self into each moment, like we're missing out. So I tell people all the time, I say, live your life like a GPS, right? So this is something that I really lean on, because it's a great way to think about it. When you program a route in your GPS, okay, I'm sorry, I'm reading the chat. If you program a route in your GPS, if you make a wrong turn, right? If it's a roadblock, if it's traffic, the GPS doesn't start crying. It doesn't call mom, right? The GPS doesn't get on social media and start blaming people, pointing fingers. It just says rerouting. And as long as you're willing to continue to be in the moment and move forward, it will chart you a course to your destination. So live your life like that. If your goal is to pass a law, your goal is to get a new superintendent in your school district or elect a great school board member, whatever the hurdles and the setbacks are, just be present in the moment and take the next step. Because you notice the GPS don't give you 6 turns at a time. It don't say in 300 feet go left, and 6 miles make a U-turn, and 50 feet go right. It don't do that. It just says in 300 feet turn left, right? It gives you the next step. And we need to, as organizers, as activists, as parent leaders, as education and nonprofit leaders, we need to be focused on the next step. Of course, we plan for the future and all of that. But the only thing that's real about your journey is the step that you take right now. So we got to be bold enough to take that next step in our journey to be successful, to make a difference for the children that we're serving. Being present allows us to be the best version of ourselves. I'm sorry, I'm hearing some sound here. Being present allows us to be the best version of ourselves. So what I mean by that is, if you are frustrated because somebody cut you off in traffic on your way home, Then you go to the organizer meeting that night. You're supposed to be having a parent meeting. Your energy is all off, right? So now Sabrina is not the best version of herself when she's supposed to be training parent leaders because somebody cut her off and made her spill her coffee in the car. But if Sabrina is present and doesn't resist what's happening, like this is the moment I'm in, here is where I'm at, this is the moment, then in that moment, Sabrina can be the best version of herself. But if she's still holding on to the emotions from 2 hours ago, right, she brings those negative emotions into this moment, it harms her resilience, it harms her ability to be the best version of herself. Does that make sense? The same is true for the future. If we spend our energy worrying about every horrible possible future scenario, everything that possibly could go wrong, right, we're denying this great moment that we have right now that is actually real. I know I'm getting real earthy, so y'all just like stay with me, okay? Like this is like a really important thing because as organizers, it's a lot going on. When we were doing our advocacy work, we would get word that, one of the bill co-sponsors is pulling out. They're not going to co-sponsor the bill. Then we find out a special interest group just threatened one of the legislators we had on board. Then something else happens and we're supposed to have a rally tomorrow and we're worried about turnout, right? And it's just like all types of stuff you got going on at the same time. You can't control everything. What you can do is figure out in this moment, what action do I need to take? Right. And I know that sounds like easier than it really is, right? Listen, I got kids. Okay. I got 3 kids. So I understand about stress and stuff is going on. One is being bad. The other's got 5 days of dance classes. It's like, man, I get it. Okay. But think of this example. Now let me pull somebody from the chat. Let's say if Larissa, I hope I said that right. If Larissa's walking down the street and a 3-year-old steps off the curb into the street, Larissa's going to grab that 3-year-old, right? No question to ask. It's not a problem. Larissa's just going to snatch that 3-year-old back on the curb, right? No questions. Now, if I said, Larissa, next week Wednesday, next week Wednesday, I say next week Wednesday, a 3-year-old is going to step off the curb. Make sure you grab him, Larissa. Right? So now Larissa is freaked out all week long. Larissa is saying, oh my gosh, I got to make sure I'm on the right street. I got to make sure I'm on time. I got to wear gloves so the kid doesn't slip out of my hand. Like, oh, what if there's traffic, right? All of a sudden, this thing that if you just needed action, she would take the action. But because she's thinking about it from a week out, now our mind is making it into a problem and into stress and giving us anxiety, right? Hey, I'm on the call, okay, sweetie? Sorry, daughter just got home. So our mind is making it stressful, it's giving us anxiety, and now we're really worried about it. So now this whole week, whenever anything happens, Larissa's got this extra layer of stress over. So now when that person cuts her off and she spills that coffee, she's also got that stress. She's worried about this kid that she's got to save next week, and on and on and on, right? Do y'all understand that? Like how not being present can like erode your resilience or your kind of your energy. Whereas if you just if there's an action that needs to be taken, you take it, right? This legislator just bailed on us. Okay, we probably need to go find a new legislator, right? We probably need to go find a new sponsor, right? And that's it. That's the action you got to take. Go do it. You don't need to spend all the time, oh, we used to have him. Oh, you was with us 5 years ago. Okay, we lost that legislator. Let's go find a new one. And that's it. And you don't have to have the stress and the tension and the resistance to the moment. I had a personal example of this the other day, and I got tested. You know how you train on something, so you're an expert or you're a coach or whatever. I got tested on this. I was going to Pittsburgh or here Greenville, Pennsylvania, to speak to a church, and the nanny that me and my wife had hired flaked on us at the last minute before I left. Now I'm driving there, so it's like, I have to leave by 9:30. The nanny flaked at 9 o'clock. I'm talking about it was rough. It was a rough morning, okay? And so in that moment, I'm getting all angry. I'm like getting furious at her, but I can't make her show up. So I had to you know what? Take that big breath. You know that breath where you like, you know what? All right, this is where we are in this moment. What action do I need to take? I need to call my parents. I need to figure something out, right? We got to find a solution and then move forward. So by the time I got to Greenville, my energy was back fine because I just accepted the moment. I just accepted what is. I gave no resistance. This is where we at. This is what I need to do. And now I'm moving on. Make sense? Y'all with me? I didn't get too metaphysical and lose y'all, did I? Like, y'all still here, right? Okay, gotcha. All right, Sarah, and you keeping an eye on the chat for me, right, Sarah? Awesome. The other Sarah, thank you. All right, so real quick, when we talk about presence, you all can, most people can relate to this. If you ever went to a beach and you know your feet go in the dark part of the sand and they kind of sink down, it's a hot day, and the water first rushes across your ankles. In that moment, you're not thinking about how many people are going to show up at your rally next week. You're not thinking about the light bill or what parents said about you on Twitter, right? In that moment, you just are alive. You are just in this moment. That's what presence feels like. And you can have that type of peace every day, but you got to work. And so just here are a couple of tips on how to be present. I just wanted to share. But the most important one is accept what is. Like, just accept what is in this moment. If you want a third boring, unnecessary Zoom call for your job and you don't know why they're making you be on this Zoom call and turn your camera on, right? You could just be mad about that. Or you could say, you know what? This is where we're at. Let me just go ahead and get involved in this Zoom call, right? And who knows what opportunities that could open for you. So that's the first. The second thing is fully embrace each moment. This is one thing that a lot of organizing advocacy folks don't like doing. So like if you got to send, let's say 100 emails, but you got to do it individually, that is really tedious and don't nobody want to do it. Or you got to call 50 parents to make sure that they're going to show up for that meeting to speak at the legislative subcommittee, right? Nobody wants to do that. But when you do it, don't do it with the resistance. Do it like, this is what it is. Let me just embrace this. Every call, hey, how you doing? I'm in the moment. How you doing? Are you going to be there Tuesday? We're counting on you, right? You bring that energy, it will connect to the people you're trying to connect with. All right. So this is just like a quick couple of like nuggets on how to be present. All right. Next question is, I'm going to go to the next slide and close this out. All right. Can somebody come off mute, one of my brave 3 now video folks, and tell me, what do you think of when you hear the word ego? Because we're transitioning to ego. When you hear the word ego, just tell me what you think. And y'all can drop it in the chat too. We got some other participants. Drop it in the chat. All right, I'll call on you. I'll do it. Sabrina, I see you looking away on purpose. I'm like, come on now. This is like education stuff. So you know how it goes. You try to look away. That's when you get called on. All right, Sabrina, when you hear ego, what you think of? Bonnie in the chat says self-involved.
I was going to say arrogance.
Arrogance. Yep. I see someone said, I don't want to mess up their name, so I'll just say someone said, I think of thinking highly of yourself and your skills. Kelsey says control. On the positive side, confidence, says Ann. All right, so check this out, y'all. I thought that too. Like ego meant, like if you're egotistic or you're ego driven, whatever, you're like narcissist. You're like a narcissist or you're like arrogant or something. But guess what, y'all? That's not what ego means. Ego is the self, especially as contrasted with another self or the world. So your ego tells you who you are. Somebody said Kanye West in the chat. Okay. Y'all distracted me with that. Okay. So your ego tells you who you are in comparison to other people and other things. This is really, really, really important. So if I go to the next slide and I want to say, who are you? So I'll pick on Sarah Stowens this time. If I say, Sarah, come off mute and tell me who you are. And you start, I am, and then just give it to me. Just run them down. Who are you?
I am a mother and a wife and a public advocate and a teacher and a student and a friend and do I have to keep going? Girl Scout leader.
That's cool. No, that's cool. I'm giving you snaps and good vibes. Thank you so much. You are so brave. I love it. And those are all super important titles. Now, when I did this, I did the same thing you did, Sarah. They said, Duncan, tell me who you are. And I'm like, okay, I'm an activist. I got a master's degree. I'm a good person. You know what I mean? I'm running down my resume, right? And they said, that's not who you are. And I said, what? They said, no, none of those things are who you are. I said, okay, let's try it again. You know, I'm resilient. I'm like, all right, let's try it again, y'all. And I say, I am a father. I'm a husband. I'm a believer. I'm, a great person. I'm a child, blah, blah, blah. Marvell and Iris Kirk. I'm like, let's get deep. I'll do it. Let's go, right? And they said, Nope, that's not who you are either. And I'm like, well, who am I? If I'm not those things, then who am I? And they said, now you are ready to learn, right? Because we have to get people from, I think that I'm something I'm not, to I don't know who I am, in order to get them to I do know who I am. Now we getting earthy, we getting real earthy. So just flow with me for a second, okay? All of those things Sarah named, those are roles and titles. And those things are important. Being a mother is like the hardest, most important thing there is you could do. Being a teacher is like the hardest job ever. I went on a field trip with my son. I quit by 11 o'clock as a chaperone. You know what I'm saying? So being a teacher is like the hardest thing you can do, okay? But who Sarah is way more than those titles, right? If Sarah was in the woods for 2 months, right? She's still Sarah. The kids is away with the nanny, right? She got her paid leave. Right, she got everything, so she's not at work. But she's still her, even without none of the titles, no internet, no TikTok, no drama, no stress. She's still Sarah, right? So who we are is actually more than those titles and those roles. So bear with me, y'all. We'll get there. We're gonna all take this little journey together. Sarah, since you said you was a teacher, when we were kids, they taught me that these were the 9 planets. In the chat, did y'all learn that in school? Can somebody just give me a yes or a yup, some type of affirmation? If when you were in school, you learned that there are 9 planets, and these are the planets. Okay, I'm seeing some affirmations. Thank y'all in the chat. Sarah, now since you're a teacher, how many planets do you teach the children there are?
Well, I teach sociology to college students, so I rarely do planets.
Fair enough.
But I'm very salty about the fact that Pluto has been taken off the list.
Right. So that's it, y'all. Listen. So for those who may not know, they teach children now that there are 8 planets. Pluto has been declassified as a planet. I bet you I didn't sign up for this workshop thinking we was going to be getting into astrology. Okay. But just roll with me. So we decided to change the name of Pluto. It was declassified to a dwarf planet. So now children learn there are 8 planets. But here's the question. When we changed the name of Pluto, the classification of Pluto, what did we actually change about the floating orb that we used to call Pluto? What did we change about it? Jordan's in here. It was like nothing. He quick on the take. Yes, we didn't change nothing. Listen, y'all, we said we're gonna call this something different, but we didn't actually change anything about it. Just stay with me. I told y'all we're going on this journey. All right. So this is a tree. Okay, I'm not even going to ask y'all what it is because people start getting real deep, okay? So this is a tree, right? Let's imagine you are standing in the forest with your hand on this tree, all right? You're just standing there. You got your hand on this tree. If you wouldn't mind, just indulge me. Close your eyes. Everybody just close your eyes. Put your hand on the table, the desk, the wall, whatever's near you. Just put your hand on. I want you to pretend that you got your hand on this tree, all right? Now you got your hand on this tree. You can feel that this tree is a living thing. It's alive. Okay, it's got bark. You can feel it. Like this tree is alive. Now let's imagine Joe Biden shows up to the tree and he staples a proclamation to the tree and says, it's National Tree Day. This is the official tree of America. What changed about the aliveness of that tree when Joe Biden did that? Nothing. Right? Absolutely nothing changed. Okay, so you stay there. You still standing there. You still standing there at the tree. Lil Wayne shows up in a Lamborghini. He starts taking selfies at the tree, right? He says, I love this tree. He leaves a pair of Gucci shoes at the bottom of the tree, right? What changed about the aliveness of that tree when Lil Wayne showed up? Nothing. All right, so open your eyes, open your eyes. Okay, here's the point. External things don't change the internal aliveness and value of the tree. And if we relate that to ourselves, they don't change the internal aliveness and the value of us. Okay. So if I put that in terms of we can understand, let's say the Education Trust says, you know what? Sarah is the teacher of the year. They give Sarah $50,000 and say she is the greatest teacher we've ever come across. What changed about the aliveness of Sarah? What changed about her value as a human? Right? Nothing. I mean, it'd be great to get 50,000 from Ed Trust, and if you do, make sure you give me a cut, Sarah, right? But what changed about who she is? Nothing. What if, Sarah's decided, you know what? I'm not getting that third PhD, and she drops out of her third PhD program, right? What changed about Sarah? Nothing. So the point I want to get people to understand, we went through that whole journey to get to one point, that who you are and your value is not connected to things and titles and roles, right? So the titles you have are important. The roles you have are important, and it's nice to have a lot of stuff. But who you are, the value that you are, the specialness of you, the awesomeness of you is not connected to external things. So whether you get 5 million people to come to your rally or only 4 people show up, your value has not changed as a person, right? Whether it takes you 2 years to pass the law or 10, your value is not connected to the result. Who you are is connected to something higher. And I'm not going to say what, because, we got a lot of different, vibes happening here. Okay. But who you are is not connected to stuff, right? You got 3 PhDs and a master's degree. That's awesome. Get another one. You got a $3 million house. That's amazing. But that doesn't change your value as a person, right? And in organizing work and advocacy work, we got to stop connecting how many likes our posts get, right? From our advocacies, or how many put signatures on a petition, and let that determine how we feel about ourselves. Let that determine the value that we have for ourselves, the love we have. That's how people get burned out, because we're always connecting our value to stuff and roles and titles. No, those are important. Listen, I'm a father. It's one of the most important jobs I can ever have, right? I'm a husband. I take that very seriously. But I am also more than those titles and roles. And so if I want you to take that from this workshop, that who you are is not connected to external things. The external things are important, right? Doing good work, making a difference, making an impact, being a parent, all those things are like super important, but they're not more important than what's inside you. All right. And so with that, let me see, I'll pull up the PowerPoint. So today we talked about resilience, right? And trying to change how we look at setbacks, change how we look at failures, right? That setbacks and failures are part of the journey. They're not something you can run from or hide from. In fact, they actually help launch you on the journey. We talked about another part of building resilience is gratitude, identifying the 3 good things in your life, hunting the good stuff, right? 3 good things that have happened in the last 24 hours. We talked about presence, right? We used the GPS example, live your life like a GPS. Take the next step and just focus on that. Don't wait. Don't bring the pain of the past into every moment, and don't let the fear of the future stop you from action. Take the next step. Be present. And we talked about ego, disidentifying who you are and your value from things and titles and roles, right? And that's how you really live a life of peace and love and joy. And then we took our success pledge. I will always place my mission first. I will never accept defeat. I will never quit. Then I want y'all to screenshot this, take it with you, or you can reach out to me on social. I'll get it to you. But this is something, use this all the time. It'll keep you focused and it'll keep you moving forward. And with that concludes my presentation. And I did it 6 minutes early. Come on, somebody. Come on. All right. So at this point, I'd love to take a couple of questions since we've got a little time. Is that good, Sarah King? Okay. Awesome. So if anybody's got any questions, you can either come off mute or drop them in the chat. Or if you got feedback or reflections, I'd love to get maybe 2 or 3 people. Is it like that awkward Zoom pause where somebody's finding a mute button, or does nobody have any questions? All right, I see I'm looking in the chat. We got some inspirational, some thank yous, some snaps, and some good vibes. All right, well, I'm going back to my default crew. Sabrina, give me some feedback. What resonated with you today?
Ego resonated with me today. And giving myself kudos.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Sarah Stowens.
I think the positivity, the hunting for the good stuff.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you. I see we got a question in the chat.
Hi, my name is Hasna. What really resonated with me was resilience. I think after COVID, it's been a lot of folks have been going through it for a while, and I'm curious if you have like any advice for building resiliency or kind of becoming resilient over like maybe a long domino effect of maybe things that brought people down and kind of lowered their energy. How can people kind of catch up, be it in the work realm, personal realm, advocacy realm, self-love, if you have any recommendations?
Yeah. So thank you for your question. First of all, it's a really good question. This has been a rough 18 months for everybody. I was so grateful that we could send these kids back to school so I can get them out of this house. Okay. I mean, I love them so much, but they got to get out of here. So yes, it's been a challenging time for everybody, right? And what I would say is the answer to most questions, the answer to most stress is the present moment, right? Your liberation, your love, your self-love, like your whole life can change in a moment, in every moment. And so for a person who's like been like, man, I had setback after setback, maybe I had a job issue, or I have, dealing with these kids and these trying to decipher these new math homework assignments, right? And all of this stuff. Like it's just been tough. And you're like, how do I take the next step? What do I do? No. Focus right now on this. What can you do? I would say, ask yourself this question. What can you do today to bring you some joy? Right? So what does it look like for you? If it's job related, go on Indeed. Start sending that resume out, right? If it's you need some space for yourself, just go for a walk. Just do something, whatever it is for you. For me, I'm a gamer. So I put on my headset and I'll play PlayStation. And if things get too heavy, I'll take a nap. You know what I mean? I'll just start over. I just like, I'm not finna sit in this negative energy. I take a nap, put some music on, and then wake up a couple hours and just work later. Okay. But you got to figure out for you, what can you do today to bring you some joy? See, the thing is, it's not about how do you conquer all the setbacks of the whole last year. That's not the type of battle we want to fight. We just want to focus on right now. What can you do today to give you some purpose, give you some joy, move towards that PhD, move towards that nonprofit you want to start? Whatever it is for you, take a step towards that today, right? And then do it again tomorrow. Then put it on your calendar for Friday, right? Like you build that joy that you want to have day by day, moment by moment, week by week. You can't have a great month unless you have 4 great weeks. Can't have a great week unless you put together several good days in a row. So you got to start with at least one good day. So make this that day. Don't wait, because COVID has shown us anything tomorrow is not promised, right? And so life is even more precious than a lot of us have been treating it for years. And so this is the moment right now. This is where you find that tranquility, that joy, that everything, and all of that stuff from the last year. It will start to melt away so fast. Let me tell you, you just go do one fun thing today. And I don't mean fun like parachuting out of a plane. I mean just something simple. Pick up a book, go sit on the porch, right? Take a really long shower for no reason and listen to a book on tape or a podcast. Like just do something for you today. And then again tomorrow, and you'll start to build that positive energy, and it'll kind of give you the momentum to keep you going. Thank you so much for that question. I hope that was helpful. I saw somebody else kind of +1 that question. Other thoughts, questions, concerns? We got 1 minute left, so we got one more comment. One time for one more comment. Sarah King, you got a comment or something? You want to close us out?
I don't know if I want to close this out, but I just want to say how refreshing and energizing this was. I think so many of the ideas that have been really well captured in the chat are they kind of seem simple on the surface, but they're actually really deep and generative. And so I really appreciate the exercises that you put us through. They were really like sticky for me. So thank you.
Thank you for that reflection. That was beautiful, Sarah. All right. Well, look, thank y'all so much. I'm gonna close it out so we got time for everybody to have a little break before the next workshop. Thanks for hanging with me to the end. And I'm sorry, my name's Duncan Kirkwood. If y'all need to ever reach me, just find me on social, LinkedIn, everything, TikTok. It's just Duncan Kirkwood. So feel free to connect with me. And thank y'all so much, and have a great rest of the day.
Great job, Duncan. I'm going to end the session, okay?
Okay.
Unless if somebody wants to stay on and chat with you. So actually, I'll give folks a second.
Yeah, I see Bob Savage popped up.
Yep.
All right. Well,
All
I think
right.
that's it, Sarah. So I think we can close it out in the session. And thanks again for all your help and the Ed Trust team bringing this together. I think this went great. And I'd love to get if participants share feedback, I'd love to, if you get any, send it my way.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that you did this. We just really appreciate it. And I will, I'll see you Friday.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you. Bye.
Right.